Hello, welcome to my 100 Days of Making Comics thing. This is day 6 through, I don't know. I'm too busy to upload actually a shorter video, so here you go. So this is day 6 and I made a I finished inking a page and did a little bit of tones, which is great. On day 7, I decided to make a Facebook page for the art. Yeah, an art Facebook page for, I guess, my art and my comic. It's not, the deal is that during this particular day, the internet wasn't working for a long time. Oh no, sorry, not the internet. There was no power for a long time. And because there was no power, I couldn't really, use my tablet. So instead, I used my portable Wi-Fi and just created a Facebook page. First, I had to take inspiration from the other art pages I was following, and I do follow a lot of art pages. And then the hardest part was actually figuring out what to name it, considering as I go by Infinity as a pen name, the symbol Infinity, which is actually difficult to find, difficult to use, because you can't use the symbol itself in most naming whatevers. And then when you actually, and Infinity is such a common name. There's so many people who use Infinity because it's a very common concept of, never ending. But the reason why I used it was because at this point in time, I was taking math, and in my math class, somebody told me, actually, the teacher was saying cool facts about numbers, and the teacher said that two parallel lines can indeed intersect. And this intersection occurs at infinity, because two parallel lines are always gonna go towards infinity if you look at them in a graph, if you plot them out. And I guess it was a cool fact. And because it was a cool fact, we, for some reason, when I was applying for my org, UP Lunar We Make Comics, our prompt for the comic we're supposed to submit was lines. So I was all like, oh, okay, so a line, like, a straight line. And guess where lines meet? They meet at infinity. And of course, with that sort of idea, I created a story about two parallel universes that never they're parallels, they're not supposed to intersect, but they do at infinity. And it's a love story about lesbians. At first, I didn't want it to be lesbian because I was afraid that it will make it a bit like gimmicky, because you know how the internet loves lesbians, and you know how art communities are communities that usually go to Comic-Cons are usually very open-minded, and therefore they're more likely to buy a book that it's gay. People are more likely to buy gay books because it's cool. So yeah, but then one of the artist was lesbian, so she'd be more comfortable if we made them both girls. So like, yay! It's actually a pretty interesting story, but you can't find it online. You have to go to Indicat or Comicats in the Philippines to get it. This is day 8. I finished a page, didn't get video, thanks. So today I decided to plot out the placement of where my character will be for the last page of this part of the book. The reason would be that it's more of an illustration than a comic book page. So it makes sense for me to actually just use the tools available, the 3D tools, to figure out how perspective actually works. Because without, like the 3D classroom thing I have going on here, I probably have no idea where to put the people. Um, and actually using this sometimes feels a bit like cheating, because I'm pretty sure people doing traditional don't have this kind of thing going on. But it makes life a lot easier, and it really helps out with backgrounds, not necessarily drawing the backgrounds, but knowing where to put things in a matter of perspective. So I decided to do the thumbnail thing I said I'd do. So this is the sketchbook I use for practice. This it's not that full, by the way. So this is a figure drawing thing I did, figure drawing hands, faces, figure drawings, and there. So I made a bunch of tiny boxes, which took longer than I thought it would. I did the first page because it was easy. Then I did some character sketches, so I at least know basically how they look, but they probably won't look like that in the end. I trust me. That's how I roll. So I went out of the house today, and this is my great aunt's house. It's her birthday. Not necessarily the ancestral house of my mother's side, but basically you get it. It's like a family reunion of my mother's side. So here's my sketchbook again, and I'm gonna go and attempt to draw them panels. I usually brainstorm the panels first, because I don't know how it works, but my brain can visualize the flow by panels, as in like I can imagine the page, how the flow of the page should go in my head, and the very first part of that flow that needs to be hammered down into reality are the panels, because it comes in like a movie, and in order to make a movie, you need to know how you're going to frame the scenes. And so that's why that's the first thing I have to do. But most of the time, I can actually think of it in my head. I can think of the panels in my head. Like, for like the first Infinity, I thought of the panels in my head to a certain extent before I placed them down. But for the latter part, that is, but my tendency with actually thumbnailing the panels first is that they tend to be more complicated than I originally wished them to be. Because like, if you're gonna print in like the page size would be half of a letter sized paper, then the tendency is that everything would be smaller than the scale that you see on the monitor, and thus it may be better to actually, fix it. So here's everything. Look at the outside. Isn't it nice? I bet there's like a monster out there, like an aswang hiding somewhere over there. They say there are lots of that in the province. In the back one. So here are the final thumbnails. Everything including the words. So I also fixed my character sketches and that thing over there, which is an important part of the story. So yes, now it has words. That over there is an egg. And this is also an egg. Yes, this is an egg, and I'm gonna be using it for the cover. So, because today I'm gonna like position this egg and the superimposed image of a fetus onto each other in order to make that final page thing that you saw probably yesterday. Yeah, you saw it yesterday. The last page was an egg with a fetus inside. That basically means that I have to find for an image of a fetus. As you're probably confused as to what I am doing in this video because you can barely see my mouse, I am going over the shape of the egg with a ruler tool so I could trace it later, because you know it looks horrible, right, when the edges aren't nice. I mean, like, when the edges don't of a drawing, even though you traced it, have hard lines, not the tapered lines that you use when you actually draw it. It doesn't look too good. It looks sort of weird. I noticed this. The first time I noticed this was when I was reading Mob Psycho 100, and I looked over some of the art, and you know when he used a line tool to make them lines. And since this is gonna be big, that, and it's not necessarily the background, this is the foreground, sort of. If you see those lines, you'd get distracted. If I see those lines, I will get distracted when I'm looking at this page. Probably. So, yes. This is an egg. This is an egg. Yeah, so the title actually of the book would be Oddity Birth. It's gonna be about this part will be about an egg. Well, I guess that's sort of a spoiler, right? But it's also the front page, so it doesn't, I mean the front cover, so I guess it doesn't really matter. So there it is. Next, I need to put a fetus inside the egg. I have no idea what kind of fetus this is. It might be a lizard fetus, might be a bird fetus, but all you have to know is that every single creature out there that isn't, I think, maybe insects are a bit different, but all human beings, all human beings, reptiles, birds, we look the same in fetus form. We all look the same. Human beings will have long tails and stuff. Birds will have long tails and stuff. We will all look the same. But I guess the huge difference is that, like, I'm used to them having larger heads. So I don't know why this one's head is really tiny. It doesn't look as cute. It looks a bit creepy. It looks more creepy than cute. It reminds me of the demon baby from Berserk. This one, when most of them are, I remember fetuses not to look like the demon baby from Berserk, but I remember them to look like little tiny lizard people inside the body. Woot woot! So today I finished the cover, and here's how it looks like. It looks pretty nice, I think. Well, I realized that it'll be better if I crop it towards the middle. Yeah, like so, yes. Today I did all the paneling. So, did the paneling from the first page until the very last page of this entire book. Great, so now all I have to do is to sketch, ink, and then color. Coloring is easier than doing tones for me, because you just paint bucket tool the entire thing. So yeah, paneling. So what I realized is that things don't always go as planned, because you really cannot draw a perfectly scaled tiny box on paper. I tried, but I can't. And you'll also realize that there's certain things that will have to be sized larger, sized lower, and some things will just have more space than you originally thought. So I guess the thumbnails were fine. I mean, like, it looks super complicated, the paneling, right? Looks like there's gonna be an interesting pace, like a dun 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 rule of 3 pace. Yay! Yes. So that's all that I did. This is all that I'm doing. It takes longer than you imagine. It takes more time than you imagine. So I edited the cover. It took me a long time. I tried to add texture. It looked nice, I think. And I was wondering whether it should have the background or not. Either way, I'll be using the one without the background inside the book as one of the last pages because you sort of need to zoom in at the fetus thing because the fetus thing is important. So people can see the fetus thing. Yeah. That's what I did for quite some time. It's really harder than you think. It's harder to put, I mean, it's harder for me to understand how to put texture. I'm pretty sure it's just overlaid and decrease the opacity of the texture image, but it's a bit complicated if you think about it, because how much do you decrease? What does the texture do to the entire image? So maybe it would be better if I place the texture before, because it makes everything darker, and depending on what's going on, it might make the contrast either higher or lower, and that's a lot of variables to think about, which is a bit stressful. So yes, this is the very last. I think I'm gonna yeah, I think I'm gonna upload a video after this one. I'm not sure because I have an exam coming soon, and when there are exams, I'm pretty sure I shouldn't work on comics. I'm telling myself now I cannot work on this comic when I have an exam soon. There are some things that take precedence over this comic, and that was one of them, my grade in school. So I'll be resuming this thing after the exam. Yes, so there is the one page. I finished one page, guys. I finished a page. I sort of did the cover and also made it into a page. One page is finished. Say hello to my page. This is new page and it is gorgeous. Well, I think I could have done better. But that's some intricate shading, so there's one page. Say hello to the page and bye. Thanks for watching. Thank you.